Good afternoon. I checked the LMS, murag na behind ko sa posting. So anyway, katong last na to nga topic that was supposedly reading material 3 bago pa na ko na post ang chapter. And also this would be reading material 4, interpolation. Um, for katong when we solve for the roots, we are given a function, right? And we solve for the values of um, the values of x that makes the y equal to 0. Then, sa kaduha, we have systems of linear equation. We have um, several linear equations. Then we solve for the values of the unknowns. So this time, we will have interpolation. Um, Saan ako itubag diri? Interpolation. So actually, when we have values of x and y, asa manigikan ang ato ang equation. So this is one of those topic where we generate the expression for values of x and y. So this is interpolation. What's the meaning interpolation? This is to estimate a missing function value by taking a weighted average of known function values at neighboring points. So for interpolation, we have values for x and y. So for example, if we try to recall, nakahidungdong pata katong uso pa ang laboratory. When we have our laboratory classes, sa eskwelahan, we do some experiments, then we assign values. For example, ano ba itong sa physics, mga experiments of physics sa una. For example, we apply a force sa spring. Purag naitimbangan ba, kaya na to weight for 1 kilogram weight, pila man ang uh, sa tawag na stretch. How long does a spring stretches if this weight um, is is placed at the end of the spring, and then we increase the weight kung 2 kilogram, how much would be the stretch of the spring, right? So we have two values. For 1 kilogram, mo stretch siya o example, 1 centimeter. For 3 kilogram, mo stretch siya o 1.8 centimeters. Kung 3 kilogram, stretch siya o 2.5 centimeters. So we have corresponding values, and how do we generalize the relationship between these two sets of values, right? So we can use interpolation pod to generate a generalization, to generate an expression for several values of x and y, or several um, set of, I think two sets lang ni siya, two sets of values. So, kung ang atong values, for example, kung 1 kilogram, 1 centimeter. Kung 3 kilogram, 1.5 centimeters. Kung 3 kilogram, 3 centimeter. Natay 1, 2, 3 kilogram. And now, if someone asks you, what if the weight that I will put at the end of the spring is 1.7 kilogram? Wala mo tayo 1.7 dito stable, di ba? So, instead of actually doing the activity again, we can make an approximation. Pila man ang stretch sa spring if the weight that is placed at the end is 1.7. Wala mo siya sa table, di ba? So, mas maayo pod nga we can just have an equation so that we can predict or we can approximate the value of y or the value of the stretch if a certain weight is applied. Diba? So, sa tawag, example na siya. Of course, this application may not be, or this method may not be applicable to all. So interpolation means to estimate. Estimate naman siya. It doesn't say. Correct siya. To estimate a missing function value by taking a weighted average of the known function values at neighboring points. So kaning known function values mo to ang ato nang nanatay data ato. Check ang katong missing values katong wala sa data. Pila man iyahang corresponding function value. The limitation of this interpolation is that, of course, we would have values for, I'm not sure, I think the limitation would be if we have already values for x and y, di ba? Example lang, we have values for x and y. In this case, natay points, wala siya vertical point. There is no point na vertical siya. Wala siya labot. Where the values of y can be the same. For example, we have another value. May laing letters sa alphabet na hunahunaan nato. N. Example, N. Dayon. How did it say? F, G. Dayon. H siya. Dayon, for 2N, na siya different values, right? Such as this, na vertical. Wala siya inabot. I think something would go wrong with this method kung inana siya. So anyway, so we have values for x and y, and then we make expression so that we will be able to solve for a missing value. Let's say, for example, we will start, we will derive it from a very simple point of view. Let's say, for example, we have 2 points, known 2 points, x of 0 and y of 0 and x of 1 and y of 1. If we take the slope of this, we would have y1 over y0 divided by x1 minus x0, diba? And another point slope or equation of the line, which is equal to y equals m times x minus x of 0 plus y of 0. If we take this expression of m, substitute to that to our m here, mao na ni ang dagway sa ato ang equation, right? Y is equal to y of 0 plus kadi, di ba? Ipuli na siya. Kani siya, right? So if we take the common denominator, x1 minus x0, we would have this equation. Nag-get siya? Ikuha common denominator, then we multiply this with x1 minus x0. Atong panahon na, tingali, ito sa France, si Legrand Ribbright. So siya ang naka-porma-porma ani. So if we examine this equation, if we have 2 points, duha ka point, we can actually make a linear equation out of these 2 points such that if we have a value for x, a certain value for x, we can substitute that here so that we can solve for the value of y, right? Kung natay value sa x, not given in the points that are already given at sukod, we can approximate the value of that y given the value of x by substituting the value of that x here. Kinaan naman tayo equation. The equation is this, right? Y of 0, given na siya. X1, given na po siya. X0, X1, given, 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 given. So, ingon siya. Lagrange said, we can extend that to a higher degree polynomial, given that more points are known. So, kani siya, if we have 2 points, we can generate an equation which is degree 1, right? Line mo ni siya. If we have 3 points known, then we can generate a quadratic equation, right? If we have 4 points, we can generate a cubic equation. We call it the Lagrange approximation. Gets? So if we examine this, y is equal to p of x. So whatever would be the value of x, we can solve for the value of y. Is equal to, notice, y0, y1. Sa denominator, y0 minus x1. Ang dire, ay yung denominator, x1 minus x0. Sa taas, sa numerator, x minus x1. O labot ang 0. Dire po, x minus x0. O labot ang 1. Let us have an example for this linear approximation. Consider the graph of cosine x. The graph of cosine x is like that. Diba? Over 0, 1.2. So from here up to somewhere here, x equals 1.2. Mo nagipasabot sa problem. Use nodes x equals 0.2 and x equals 1 to construct a linear approximating polynomial q of x. So we have a function cosine x, and we make a linear approximation for that. We make an equation that would approximate the curve f equals cosine x, given using the nodes 0.2, x of equal values equal to 0.2 and 1. Kanina sabtan rin atong reason. Hukaw-hukaw lang akong drawing. So if x equals 0.2, given naman siya, cosine x. So y0 is y of 1 is, so y of 0 is cosine 0.2. Naa? Naa. Nasa ubos. So y of 0 is 0.98. There. Diba? If you practice and do this problem again, use the radian mode, ha? Kaning 0.2 should be in radians. And cosine 1 is equal to 0.54. So this is 0.54. So when we construct its linear approximation, we would have, of course, I think you do not have to memorize it. Basta kung y0, y1, nasa ubos, x0 minus x1. x1 minus x0. Sa taas, x minus x1, x minus x0. Isalot ra na siya diha. y0 is 0.98, x minus x1, which is 1, diba? Over 0.2 minus 1 plus y1, which is 0.54, sa taas x minus 0.2, sa ubos 1 minus 0.2. Kanin sa diri, this is already computed. So this would be the approximate linear equation given these two sets of coordinates. So see, the curve cosine x can be approximated using a linear equation. However, see the discrepancy. Mao ni siya ang cosine x. Pwede siya. And if we are going to graph this, the graph would be this line. Whatever would be the gap there, that's the error. Kay dili man jud siya linear ang cosine x. So anyway, that is approximation because we cannot have it very close or very approximate to the curve of cosine x because ang given niya duha ra man ka points. Kung daghan points, of course, we would have it, the error would be minimal. So what if we have more points? So if we generalize our equation, we would have the Lagrange approximation of n degree should need n plus 1 points. If the degree is n, we would need n plus 1 points. So the expression would be the sum of y of k times ln. L of x consists of nk, diba? Summation. Where this form is this. Of course, dili sila pwede magparehas. Mao di akong giingon. The x cannot be the same. Kay mo zero ato ang denominator. Bato na ko i-erase. I-erase. Dili pwede. Common value of x. Nakay point diri. Form siya vertical. Because the approximation would make it undefined. Kaya mo denominator man tag 0. Okay. Let us look at, for example, we have 3 points. x0, y0, x1, y1, x2, y2. So what would be our polynomial? We would have a second degree polynomial. Kaya tulo man kabuk atong points. Diba? The points would be neighboring points. So we have y1, y0, y1, y2. In the denominator, dili pwede x0 minus x0. Mag-match siya ha, 0, x0 minus x1, x0 minus x2. 1 man na siya. So we have 1 po diri. Minus the other excess. Kay 2 man siya, x2, x2. Minus the other excess. And the numerator, x minus x of 1. Walay labot ang x0. X minus x of 2. Sa y1, walay x1 sa numerator. Diri sa y2, walay x2 sa numerator. So see, this will, if we will simplify this, we will have a quadratic expression. Okay na x times x, that will make it x squared. So the expression would be quadratic. I hope ma-imagine na siya ha. If there are 4 points that is given, we can approximate a cubic equation. The higher the degree, the more approximate it is to the curve. Of course, we will have y0, y1, y2, and y3. Let us try to generate the first term. So the first term would be y of 0 times the expression x of 0 minus x of 1 x of 0 minus x of 2 x of 0 minus x of 3 right? The numerator x minus x1 x minus x2 x minus x3, right? The same would be done similarly for the next term, right? So yun, y2 and y3. So notice, by looking at the numerator, we would know that it is a degree 3 polynomial. May pangutana. So let us look at the same problem. However, more points are given. So consider again the curve f of x is equal to cosine x from 0 to 1.2 using the 4 nodes. X equals 0, x equals 0.4, x equals 0.8, and x equals 1.2. There are 4 points, so we could make a cubic polynomial out of these 4 nodes. Nanang answer ha. I'm assuming you would understand ganong na you already know how that answer is generated. So if the cubic interpolation polynomial is constructed, the curve of this polynomial would somehow follow the cosine x curve, right? So the more points that is given, the more our polynomial approximation would be accurate to the actual curve. Kay, I think, ano siya, silent na siya. Kay, if we have values ba during our experiments, it is very hard for us to when we generate a general expression out of these points, it is so hard for us to actually um, generate an expression that is transcendental. Diba? Kung trigonometric ba siya, kung exponential ba siya, kung logarithmic ba siya, mas lisod siya. So it would be easier for us to generate a polynomial expression out of these points. Ox, I hope everyone has understood this. Now, assignment 3, you don't need to use Excel for this. Kung mag-answer ta, nag-answer, parihara ba siya? I think parehas ra siya. I-assignment nato siya. We can use this. Ito lang dito ba? So the assignment would be, pwede sa taas, pwede sa ubos. Anyway, i-post lang na ako siya. The assignment will not be needing the Excel worksheet, but let us try to look at it. Solve siya by hand and also calculator po. Cubic o quadratic naman siya, so it's not very long. And then, picture na lang or PDF form. Tanaw sa nato ha. Use quadratic Lagrange interpolation based on the nodes. X of 0, 1, x of 1, 2, x of 2 equals 2.5 to approximate f of 1.5 and f of 1.2. Nasabtan na rin ang problem. First is to generate a quadratic Lagrange interpolation expression using these nodes. And then, given the polynomial that is generated, solve for the values of f of x if x is equal to 1.5, and what would be the value if x is equal to 1.2. Ano ang ipasabot sa problem? I hope okay ra. So for this assignment, for our next assignment, we will not be needing the Excel worksheet. We can solve it by hand. And dili sad siya taas kaayo man. Solbo na lang nato tanan kay 1 and 2. I-post niya na ako na siya. If for example lang ha, the approximate, dili siya approximate. If the error between the actual values of x and the approximate value of x would be so large, we will be needing another method for this. I'm not sure if time is enough. Aside from interpolation, we can also use another method, which is curve fitting. Next pa siya topic. So this is all for today. Atong interpolation dayon ha. Next week, mag-answer ta aning assignment, and then maybe next, wala pa man ang nabili na to nga topic nga wala na-test. Kuan pa man no? Gaussider. Next week we will decide kung mag-test pa ta. Next week. Next week pa ta mag-decide. Kuna-kuna sa takin sa ato ang president. Naay pangutana? Kung walay pangutana, mangundang ta. I think walay pangutana. This is all for today. Thank you for your time.